Welcome to another edition of Tuscaloosa Talks. I am excited as I can be to be with you, Katrina Keefer, our new CEO here of DCH, which has been, I was born in this place in 1972.
From where you took your first breath.
That's right. And so, for me,
Welcome home.
it's good to be home. And DCH is a rock in our community. It's one of the pillars that makes this community great. And you're our new CEO. And so this podcast is a chance to introduce you to a broader community who I think will be proud to have you here.
Thank you.
And so for those that don't know your story, talk a little bit about your experiences in healthcare and what you're bringing to the table here in Tuscaloosa.
I'd say my experiences in healthcare are pretty broad, actually, and maybe not the traditional CEO. I started with the UAB health system and did a lot of transaction work. So I was sort of their bond deal girl back in the day. And one year I actually got to do $1 billion worth of transactions for different health system entities, which was really fun. But then I had the unique opportunity to work with the health system leaders as they were expanding their network through the affiliation arrangements, primarily through the Healthcare Authorities Act being extended. So that was a lot of fun and pretty unique. Also, just being a convener of interdisciplinary groups to solve problems. We did a lot of that when I was at Augusta University, associated with the Medical College of Georgia, and bringing people together to really solve problems. We had to do that very quickly during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think bringing those groups together in a way where everybody realized that they were valued and that we're all caregivers was really important. And then really just physician relationships and the different kinds of partnerships that we can have with physicians that benefit our patients, but also financially benefit both parties. And so it's been kind of a unique opportunity to do transaction work, but really about how does it provide better care for our patients and a better experience all the way around.
So what was it about Tuscaloosa or DCH Tuscaloosa that drew you here?
Well, I think Tuscaloosa was part of it. I've never lived in a big college town, and all the great activity that's gone on in Tuscaloosa, that was certainly part of it. But really the opportunity I felt like matched my toolkit. And as I was learning from the board the strengths that they needed, I felt like that my toolkit kind of matched that. I also felt like the board was going to give us an opportunity to really assess what was going on from a care process, a financial turnaround. They seemed to realize and to hear me and my approach to the financial turnaround really being more about growth and expansion of services, not cutting our way to profitability. Mm-hmm. And so just seemed like there was a lot of opportunity here with care management and really thinking a little bit differently instead of and outside of the four walls of the hospital. And anyway, just the opportunity to rebuild relationships in the community, the medical staff, boards, many of the folks that I've had the opportunity to meet and continue to meet and listen to. And I felt like both my skill set and my personality fit well. I'm an Alabama girl. I'm from Monroeville. And so I felt like as I'm outreaching to those in West Alabama that, ultimately I think it's our responsibility to be, a part of their care processes. I felt like I would be, a good fit.
Well, it's a shame we don't have more time to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes, Miss Nell.
Yes, but and my wife is from Atmore, so very close to Monroeville.
Yes,
so.
that was the closest movie theater when I was growing up, and it was a two-seater. We usually had to go to Pensacola or Mobile or Montgomery. But
what a small world,
Small world.
Well, DCH was a rock star for Tuscaloosa and our entire community during COVID, and really stepped to the plate for this community. And I don't know about you, but they don't teach pandemic in school.
That's right.
And so, learning as we were all going through it together. But, beyond that, there's been some erosion of confidence in the last few years, DCH, and everyone's been honest about that. What are you doing both internally here at DCH and externally to restore that confidence that our community has in this great hospital?
I'd say internally it's about the care processes. It's about the external relations and the documentation of quality of care, incremental sustainable steps. We really have to have our caregivers to want to come to work every day. We really have, because that is going to help them take the best care of our patients. And so internally really thinking about how we change the culture, how we recapture caregivers who perhaps are on a agency nursing assignment, even in Birmingham, and bringing them home. And so creating a culture where people want to come to work, they feel like they're valued, and really taking great care of patients. And then externally, I've tried to be very visible, very transparent, and do a lot of listening. I've also tried to do some education. There is no pixie dust of how this, magically is going to reverse the effects that COVID has had on our workforce. Tuscaloosa is unique and DCH is unique because there aren't other hospitals that the community gets to see their struggles as well. So when hospitals in the industry are struggling, the community might have the perception that DCH is just failing, and it's really a problem that's throughout the industry. So I think, educating people about where we are, educating people about the incremental, sustainable steps forward from a quality perspective, from a financial perspective, I think is really where I've tried to keep my focus. But loving on our caregivers and making people want to work here, repairing the relationships with our medical staff, really letting them help be a part of the solution of the care process. And again, it sort of pulls on my toolkit about bringing people together to help us get where we want to be.
Well, in 2017 and 18, I got a real education in healthcare in Alabama. And you talked about education in the community. Most people in Tuscaloosa do not realize that DCH not only serves Tuscaloosa County, we serve a multi-county region, and some of those counties are the poorest in the nation.
That's right.
And anyone who comes into this hospital is guaranteed health care, whether they have insurance, whether they can pay or not. Other hospitals, as you mentioned, don't necessarily have that dynamic, and Tuscaloosa is in this region where we are that healthcare provider. Now that has a negative financial consequence for DCH, and that's not DCH's. DCH did not make this environment,
Right.
But it's the environment.
But
that
we are the safety net hospital.
We are
That's
the safety net hospital, and that's not going to change. So how do we work through that in the years ahead? And I know this is a complicated question with complicated answers, but give a sense of what we have to do, because this is our fate. We have to address it. So how do we address it?
I think we have to understand who's coming to our emergency room for primary care. There's a lack of primary care for underinsured and uninsured in our community, and we've got to find pathways to either embed those folks in, whether it's teaching programs and our partnerships with the University of Alabama College of Community Health Sciences, or whether we create and augment other independent 501c3s who have pieces of the puzzle that they're trying to individually create. So I feel like we have an opportunity to be a convener so we understand who is doing what. So I understand what West Alabama Hospice is doing. I understand what the Samaritan Clinic is doing. I understand other needs, so that when I see a patient being discharged with nothing but the hospital gown on their back, do I create my own Discharge with Dignity clothes closet, or do I partner with a community partner and ensure that we have those pathways? So there are there are many things that we know we're going to have to invest in to keep patients out of the hospital, so that we preserve our hospital capacity for those that are the most sick. And so that is the dynamic that we're going to have to turn. We are going to have to invest in those patients, but they'll have better health care. They'll be able to maintain, particularly those with chronic diseases. And with our partnerships with the university, we have an opportunity to teach the next generation of physicians about accommodating patients that have limited access to resources, or limited access to clean water, or all of the other problems that come when you get further and further away from the mothership of Tuscaloosa. So I think it's just a lot of conversation, education, convening, and being innovative in the way that we accommodate patients.
Well, to me, as mayor, it's really, I have a lot of confidence in you for many reasons, but one of them is you are looking over the horizon. You're wanting to get in front of these issues instead of behind it. And it's going to take partnerships. I've been an advocate for us looking at some partnership with the University of Alabama system. And that's something you and the board have to evaluate. That is, you are the experts, we are not. But in my opinion, and it's only an opinion, it makes a lot of sense. But one of the things I've really enjoyed about our quarterly meetings is hearing about the existing partnerships we have with UA, UAB. Would you talk a little bit, just briefly, about some of those partnerships? Because I think the public would actually be surprised by them, as I was.
Yeah.
But also, what could be potentially on the horizon?
Well, I think I'm uniquely qualified to sit in this seat right now after spending 17 years with the UAB health system in varying roles. and was in downtown corporate office, but also was the CFO of one of their community health providers for quite some time. And so it's been fun for me, and we are very lucky that both the UAB health system and the University of Alabama, we got one chancellor, we got one board of trustees, and they all care about the best health care for Alabama. And at the end of the day, we have a unique opportunity, I think, to put together a unique partnership that leverages our existing relationships with Dean Friend and the College of Community Health Sciences. Our hospitalist program is through them. We have one of the greatest and largest family medicine residency programs in the country that we have in partnership with UA. We have a professor of social work on our board through the College of Social Work, and Dean Dr. Albright. And so they're just I'm on the Capstone College of Nursing Dean Search Committee. So and our nursing leaders have a lot of interactions there. Super excited to announce that Dr. Melanie Rose will be joining us May 1st through a UAB medicine appointment. So subspecialist coming into our community. A faculty member of UAB, but 100% focused on community medicine in Tuscaloosa and keeping healthcare local. So again, we have all these fun pieces and parts that we do well together, and the thing that I'm focused on right now is understanding how we mutually benefit Tuscaloosa patients, as well as all of the teaching and research that the university wants to do. And so I am sort of energized by the flexibility that I think we have and the unique opportunity as we address rural health care, which both the University of Alabama and UAB are trying to address, but helping them to expand their programs, but being super sure that we are protecting and that any potential relationship is mutually beneficial and keeps patients in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, absolutely. For us to succeed as a community, we had to have great health care. And I am really confident in what you were doing here. When David Hudson and David Gay, who are the city's appointees to the DCH board, told me they were hiring you, they said you were going to be impressed. And to say the least, I have been. And so we appreciate everything that you're doing for DCH and Tuscaloosa and our entire community.
Thank you.
And we wish you much success. And I can't wait for the public to truly get to know you. My only concern is don't wear yourself out. This is a marathon and not a sprint. So,
but if I don't run sprint speed, we're not going to be in the race. So we got a lot of people counting on us, and we got a lot of caregivers, and there's a lot of great work being done inside the walls. And I'm just so excited to share it with everybody, and also ask for patience because it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
But we want to take incremental, sustainable steps forward, and I look forward to continuing to share those with you and with the rest of the community.
Well, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud you're leading our healthcare in our community.
Thank you.
This has been another edition of Tuscaloosa Talks.